Vous allez supporter le Real Madrid, ¿verdad?
Oh, what's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. We are back again this morning. It is Wednesday, the 8th of May, 2024. Big up all the real ones in that building. We are about to dive in. Waffle sessions, vibes, all of that. We've got a lot to actually talk about. We're going to start off by talking about the masterclass. Edin Terzić, the masterclass for Dortmund yesterday against PSG. I can't believe it. I actually thought Paris Saint-Germain were going to slap them. They lost in the first leg 1-0. I predicted that Paris Saint-Germain were going to open them up in the second leg. And wow, did Edin turn it up, nullify their threats. I mean, PSG had so many shots. 30 shots yesterday, blood. 30 shots, you know, they couldn't bag it. Crazy. Man like Matt Hummels, when you got an experienced defender like that in your back line, then, bro, you're protected. You're protected. And they've got some good players over there at Dortmund, man. Adeyemi, Sancho stepping up. They've got some good players over there. Man like Brunch, come on, he's been around. I feel like he's been reincarnating, that player. I swear he's been around for years. But big up Edin, man. Masterclass. This guy's been in the game for about 2 years. He was an assistant manager at West Ham at a point in his career. And yeah, he's got himself to a final. Dortmund. It goes to show you how easy the Champions League was this season. Let's be honest now. I reckon Arsenal could have got to this final. Bayern Munich were beatable, man. They were beatable. We know that. They were beatable. We could have made it happen. And we could have been in this final. Sad. It is what it is, though. Big up Edin. Masterclass settings. Make sure you are hitting the like button. We're going to be talking about Victor Gyökeres. He will be leaving Sporting Lisbon. It is confirmed, according to a journalist in Portugal and various other publications as well, talking about this. This is exciting news for Arsenal. And we're also going to talk about Joao Neves playing for Benfica. Arsenal are considering making a move for the player as well. There's various different topics that we are going to be touching on. No Diddy stuff. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. I hope every single one of you are doing well. Get your comments in. Let me know your thoughts on the PSG and Dortmund game. Dortmund through to the final. We've got Bayern Munich and Real Madrid this evening. That's going to be interesting. Is it 2-2 in that game so far? I think it is 2-2. I will be locked in 110%. I don't want to see a German Champions League final. Oh, please, man. These German teams, man. Bloody hell. It's good to see Dortmund there. But I believe Real Madrid will make it happen. They will get through and probably beat Dortmund. But you can't write Dortmund off, man. I writ Dortmund off against Paris Saint-Germain, and look what they've done. Look what they've done. The tactics on display yesterday, it just nullified what PSG were doing. Shut down the central areas, made them play out wide. And you know, when you've got an experienced defender like Matt Hummels in the back line, cross the ball all you want into the box, blood. Man's clearing them. Man's dealing with them. And he actually jumped up and got himself a goal. I don't know how PSG didn't mark Matt Hummels. Man was just floating by himself. One of the tallest guys on the pitch, just floating by himself. I'm thinking, bruh, these men are nuts. Do they want to win this or not, blood? Dortmund. Big up them guys over there, man. And you see the past 2 years that Edin has had at Dortmund. For some reason, I feel like that's an Arsenal vibe. It's an Arsenal vibe. It definitely is an Arsenal vibe. And you know, last season, Dortmund lost the league on the last day of the season. Is it last season? Is that what happened? Hold on, does my memory serve me well? Did they lose the league on the last day of the season? I'm pretty sure they did, didn't it? The last day of the season, they lost the league. I feel like that's Arsenal this season. And I don't even want to manifest that, blood, because Arsenal need to win the league this season. But I feel like that's going to be Arsenal this season. And then, you know, get into the Champions League final, maybe, for Arteta next season. Who knows, man? But Edin, that's what you call a generational manager. A man that's been in the game for 2 years with a team like Dortmund, who aren't kind of expected to win the league. They are one of the biggest clubs in Germany, and they would be a team that are deemed, well, they have the expectation of challenging for the Bundesliga. I mean, Klopp more or less put them in that conversation, winning Dortmund their first ever Bundesliga. So, you know, since then, they've kind of built a reputation up, and they've had various different managers, Thomas Tuchel, various other managers since then. But yeah, like this guy's come in 2 years experience, more or less, and he's had Dortmund in the conversation. He's had them in the conversation. Yeah, but, you know, Xabi Alonso's come into that Bundesliga and just... he's talking different over there, mate. He's talking different. So no one can really talk to him. If you're talking real generational, you know, a guy that could potentially go invincible, do an invincible treble this season, Xabi Alonso. That is what you call a real generational manager. But well, actually, you are right about last season. So they did lose in the last game of the season. I feel like that's going to be an Arsenal thing, man, this season. And maybe next season we get to a Champions League final. I don't know. I don't want to manifest that. I want Arsenal to win the league and win the Champions League next season. But big up all the real ones in the building. Make sure you get in your comments in. We've got Nathan, we've got A9 in the building, we've got Shy in the building. We've got Samuel in the building. We've got my guy Jack Williams. We've got Sack in the building. Tabitha's in the building. Sergio's in the building. We've got real ones, man. Make sure you are hitting the likes. All of that. Why are Arsenal scared to go for the likes of Watkins, PL proven strikers that are only getting better? Why do we have to constantly look abroad for big money signings? ? A good question, Jack, actually. I don't know what it is. I mean, for me, and I know this is kind of referring to the Victor Gyökeres, situation. For me, Victor Gyökeres, there's no player on the planet that is actually doing what Victor Gyökeres is doing. You're looking at Ollie Watkins, however, the season that he's had this season has been phenomenal. Standout season. And it puts him in the conversation 110%. You cannot speak about Ollie Watkins. All big clubs in England have to talk about Ollie Watkins. Even Man City will talk about Ollie Watkins at this moment in time. Whether they decide to make a move for him or not, you have to talk about him because he's done extremely well. For me, he's just not one of my favorites. I wouldn't be what I've seen him produce so far this season and over the years, and he's come up from the Championship all the way to the Premier League. And this is a good example for Gyökeres as well, for people that actually say Gyökeres is going to be a Darwin Noodles 2.0. I don't think those guys know what they're talking about, because Ollie Watkins has made significant improvements over the years, especially under Unai Emery. So he has to be in a conversation. I wouldn't be too disappointed. Right now, for me, Gyökeres is the answer. But he's an example that I want to use because people have said, oh, Gyökeres is going to be Darwin Noodles 2.0. Gyökeres is not that good. Gyökeres X, Y, and Z, whatever they've said. And I'm actually struggling. I'm really struggling to actually find a striker. I mean, you probably will find a striker. Let's not be real. But let's be real, sorry. But I'm actually struggling to find a striker that has come from the Championship into the Premier League, sustained their position in the Premier League, and not been able to bag. You know, you can look at Ivan Toney, you can look at Ollie Watkins, you can look at Jamie Vardy. These are all players, and there's a variety of more players, but there's so many players that have come from the Championship. They've done well in the Championship. You know what? They didn't even do as well as Victor Gyökeres did in the Championship. Okay? But they come into the Premier League and continue to do what they've done in the Championship. I think it took Jamie Vardy 1 season to adapt to the Premier League. 1 season, he had a dead season. After that, he was doing double figures every single season. We're talking about goals. I think he was 18 plus every single season after that. Do you understand? That's someone that has been playing for years in the lower league divisions, the Championship for a couple of seasons, so on and so forth. So when people say, oh, Gyökeres is going to be Darwin Noodles 2.0, you man are clueless. Did Darwin Noodles play in English football prior to being over in Portugal? No, he didn't, did he? And these are the things that people got to look at when you make your judgment and when you voice an opinion on a player. You know, and you have to look at everything that they've done throughout their career. This player in Victor Gyökeres, who we will get to, I know I'm waffling on here, we will get to, he has done it in English football, batted it up. And the strikers that we just listed in Jamie Vardy, Ollie Watkins, and Ivan Toney, I'm pretty sure, based on what I remember, they didn't have the numbers that Victor Gyökeres had when he was in the Championship. So this guy's going to definitely come and be a phenomenal player. We're going to get to him anyway. Make sure we are hitting the like button, but just kind of, you know, leaning off of Jack's comment there. Big you up, Jack. You know, I pointed with, I'll sign Ollie Watkins if that's what we have to sign. If Gyökeres signs a new deal or decides to stay, I'll be happy with an Ollie Watkins as long as he can continue to be on the trajectory that he's on at this moment in time. I'll be happy. But yeah, man, I don't mind, man. As long as the guy can come in and bag, that's all I care about at this moment. That's all I really care about. Isaac is the answer, says Tevin. Troy Deeney was decent too. That's what I'm saying. Look at Troy Deeney. There's so many names, so many strikers that you can mention that come from the Championship, came to the Premier League. Forget the ones that got relegated instantly and you never saw them again, because there will be those ones. We do know that. But if you look at how many have come to the Premier League, it outweighs the ones that didn't make it. It definitely outweighs it. And those ones that did make it, done well in the Championship, done well in the Premier League. In fact, the ones that done well in the Championship didn't do as well as Gyökeres in the Championship. So, I mean, that kind of defeats the the argument and or the debate, really. Because this, it's proven that this guy has done it in English football. So you can't call him Darwin Noodles 2.0. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Stop doing that. And that's my point. That's the point I wanted to prove there. Anyway, we've waffled for 11 minutes. Make sure we're hitting the like button. Do subscribe. All of that, man. Big up Dortmund, man. They definitely deserve to, be where they're at right now. These man celebrating. Doing up celebrations behind the scenes, in the locker rooms and that. Why not, bro? Champions League final, crazy settings, crazy settings. It does look like Man United are going to be looking at Gareth Southgate as the manager to take over this summer. Man United have a serious issue. I think a lot of managers are looking at Manchester United right now, and they're not overly keen on taking on that project. They're not overly keen on it. I don't think anyone's really interested in taking on that Manchester United project at this moment in time. Jadon Sancho, who we can see on the screen right now, obviously leading the celebrations in the dressing room, definitely doesn't want to return to Manchester United. He won't be returning no matter what happens. He wants out. He wants out. The talk of the town is that he probably will stay at Dortmund for another season. There are other teams looking at him. We spoke yesterday and mentioned it, for about 3 seconds. Jude Bellingham, Zinedine Zidane encouraging Real Madrid to make a move for Jadon Sancho as well. But the project at Manchester United is literally all over the place. And, according to reports that are coming out this morning, Manchester United have made Gareth Southgate their top target as the new head coach. The bosses are convinced that Southgate is the right coach for the overhaul. Oh, man. Ideally, United want to conclude a deal in the coming weeks and announce him after the Euros. We've got Euros 2024 taking place. That's going to be interesting. I wonder how England get on in that. Anyone can get their predictions in. Let me know who your favorites are to win that competition. I might do some watch-alongs for that, in fact, to be quite fair. I mean, it's going to be a lovely sunny day. I'll probably be on holiday as well, so that'll be interesting. But Gareth Southgate to Manchester United, it's not really looking good for the Man United fans, man. Oh, Ten Hag then moves on to Bayern Munich. Is that what's going to happen? This is crazy. Southgate. Yeah, Southgate to Manchester United. What are you man saying about Jadon Sancho to Arsenal, though? Would you lot take Jadon Sancho based on what you've seen of Jadon? There could be a way of us convincing Jadon to join, and I don't know what it is, but I feel like Mikel Arteta and people at Arsenal would be open to sacrificing Martinelli. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, man. I even feel like Martinelli is thinking in his head that he might want to kind of explore his options. I don't know what's telling me that. Maybe I'm just totally wrong. But if that is the case and Martinelli was to sacrifice, would you guys be happy to go and get Jadon Sancho as the replacement? So talking about Manchester United's situation here with Gareth Southgate, there's another report coming out by iNews suggesting that Ruben Amorim and Graham Potter are in contention to replace Erik ten Hag as the Manchester United manager. Graham Potter has recently been linked with a move to Ajax. Now that looks like it's going to come to to an end. You know, it's gonna break down. Negotiations are gonna break down for the simple fact that Graham Potter is asking for too much money, and Ajax don't want to pay the amount of money that he wants. So that's a challenge. It hasn't fully broken down, but according to reports online, it does look like Graham Potter won't be the Ajax manager, so therefore could be open to the move to Man United. But in that project, you know, as I said, I don't think managers are going to be looking at that project and be, you know, inspired. They're not going to be inspired, man. It's going to take a lot for that ownership to sit down with a manager and sell them that real vision. They're going to need so many reassurances. It's unbelievable, blood. Unbelievable. And for Man United fans, you, man, might have to see dark times. I mean, you're seeing dark times already. It's been dark for you, man, for a decade, longer than a decade. But it might even get darker for you. It might get darker because you, man, are going to have to go through this potential problem of what manager comes in next. That manager then has to really go for an overhaul of getting rid of a bunch of players. Will they be able to identify the right players? Will Man United, will this be the first time Manchester United find it difficult to attract the players that they want? Because you've got to think with the way they've been run as a football club, and I know it's a new ownership and it's not even a complete new ownership. You know, the owners that caused the problems for you, man, are still here. They're still there. They've just brought in the next on to kind of call shots and say, yeah, you run with it. It's kind of like how Peter Hillwood had David Dean, more or less. But then you got to say, is Radcliffe the right answer? If they're looking at Southgate and they believe Southgate's the perfect guy for the overhaul, then yeah, question marks, mate. Question marks. Question marks, mate. Southgate was terrible at Middlesbrough, exactly, and then stayed at England after that. Never tried club football again. Martinelli was always going to be sacrificed. Remember, we are going to pay 80 million for Mudryk. Oh, that's very interesting that you say that. Graham Potter, times are going to get darker. This is what I'm saying. So it's going to get dark for Manchester United. They need to be prepared for that. Saeed, I'm with Saeed, man. My heart's with Saeed right now, boy, because I know he's feeling it. He's feeling it, bro. It's going to get darker for you, man. It's going to get darker for you, man. Just know that. But hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel, man. Let's see what Sir Jim Radcliffe can do for you, man. We'll be here to see it. Just keep Ten Hag, though. Keep Ten Hag for another season. Let's see how that goes. Or just hire Gareth Southgate. Why not? Gareth Southgate makes a lot of sense. Anyway, man, it's being confirmed by the Football Insider that Erik Ten Hag will be sacked at the end of this season. He is done. He is done at Manchester United. So at least Saeed can be relieved, because I know he's not rating Ten Hag whatsoever. Another manager that's in the frame for the job is Thomas Tuchel. Just to let you guys know, departing manager boss Thomas Tuchel is interested in taking over at Manchester United, and that's according to the Telegraph. Now, I mean, that's good news. I'll be really optimistic about taking on Thomas Tuchel as the manager if I was a Manchester United fan, because he has been there, he's done it, he's won trophies, an experienced manager, he's got a structure, he's organized. He'll be able to get something going and probably be able to encourage players to join the project. And I think that's going to be a big issue that you face. Man United might be the team that get hijacked all summer. They become the team that just get hijacked all summer. And every top target that they're going for, yeah, someone comes in. Chelsea come in. Big Belly Bowley puts his whole belly on the table and takes everything that you man have got. Yeah. Stan Kroenke might come in and give them a plan. Stan with a plan, gives them a plan. They come over here and get involved with what Arteta are doing. So I don't know, man. It could be the hijack club this summer. Who knows, man? But Thomas Tuchel apparently interested as well. Let's see what happens with Manchester United. But what else have we got going on outside of Arsenal? We are going to be moving on to some Arsenal content. Make sure you are hitting the like button. Do subscribe to the channel if we are new. Turn your notification bells on. All of that type of stuff. You don't want to miss out on our daily streams. 11:30 every single day UK time. You don't want to miss out on that. Manchester City, Bernardo Silva wants his future resolved by the end of Euro 2024. Amid continuing links with Barcelona. He has a 15 million release clause. I can't believe this, I can't actually believe it, Bernardo Silva has a 15 million release clause. If there's anyone at that football club that you would want to buy, it wouldn't have been Zinchenko or Gabriel Jesus. It would have been this guy with a 15 million release clause in his contract. What the hell is going on here? What the hell? You telling me that Barcelona are going to get a deal They're going to get a 200 million pound player for 50 million pounds. Is that what you're telling me? Oh, no, Arsenal, Arteta, you've got a relationship with these dons. If there is any player that I would be open and happy to take from Man City, it would be Bernardo Silva. And if he's got a 50 million release clause, mate, whatever, you better go and get it done. Go and get it done. Go and speak to him. Go and speak to him and try and get it done. This would be a perfect mentor for Fabio Vieira. This would be a perfect player to actually partner with Odegaard. You know, Bernardo Silva plays on the right-hand side as well. He plays on the right wing. Can you imagine having Odegaard on Bernardo Silva just cooking on that right-hand side? Are you mad? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. With the way Odegaard's playing right now, he's so unstoppable, bro. Give him someone like that, or even on the 8, maybe not Bernardo Silva, but just give him someone in the 8. I know it's Declan Rice, but play him as a 6. Give him someone really with flair. Someone with flair, man. Someone with unpredictability. Someone with movement. Someone that's sharp. Odegaard would be out of this world. And I think that player can be Gyökeres, you know. I think with the way we play, and we like our number 9s to drop deep, and that's what Gyökeres does on a normal, I'm telling you now, Gyökeres and Odegaard together is just going to be out of this world, blood. I think Mikel Arteta knows it as well. And that's why we've been thoroughly scouting Gyökeres since the beginning of the season. And it's interesting. We're going to get to Gyökeres. I'm going to give you my opinion on the news that's being shared and what I think, what's been happening behind the scenes, X, Y, and Z. Don't go anywhere. Hit that like button. All of that. There's well over 100 people in here. Make sure we're over 100 likes by the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. We much appreciate all the real ones. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers as well. So make sure you subscribe and telling a friend to tell a friend. All of that. But yeah, man, Bernardo Silva is definitely someone that I would love to sign, but it's a dream right now. I don't think Arsenal would be in the conversation. A9 says Bernardo Silva is on a mad decline. I mean, he's getting old. What is he, 29, touching 30? I don't mind that. I'm still taking it. So Wax, you want City rejects? Say no more, G. No, listen, I never wanted Jesus or Zinchenko the way I would have wanted Bernardo Silva. This is the only player. This, I swear to you, if I look at that Man City team and you say, Wax, you can take any player in that Man City team right now, other than Phil Foden probably be the number one, actually. But for the longest time, I've always wanted Bernardo Silva at Arsenal. They're the type of players I've always grown up on. And you know, no Diddy thing, I've loved those players. Like those guys with flair, those playmakers. I love playmakers. One of the reasons why Mesut Ozil's been my favorite player. I love Kevin De Bruyne, Odegaard, those type of players, man. Even for me, like Kevin De Bruyne, don't even really seem like the traditional playmakers. You know those, Aimers. You know, remember Aimar, Pablo Aimar? Oh, he was a baller, bro. He was one of my favorite dons as well, man. So many dons back in the day, man. So many dons. Bernardo Silva is a City reject, man. Oh, come on, A9. This guy is so negged. So negs, bro. Bernardo Silva is one of the best players in the Premier League right now. And I know he's getting on, but I would take him if his release clause is 50 million. Anyway, let's move on before A9 starts negging at the whole chat, blood. Hit that like button, A9, man. What we got? Oh, this one's interesting. Look at this. What do we have here? Nicolas Pepe will be available as a free agent in the summer, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be leaving Trabzonspor as his contract will expire. That wasn't a long contract they gave him. Pepe has signed with a new agent, BS Group, same agents as Simakan and Lukaba. And despite proposals from the Middle East and Saudi Arabia, he wants to return to a team in Europe. Man like Nicolas Pepe, I knew it was never going to work out for Pepe. At Arsenal, wherever he went, because he's just not that player, man. He's not that player. He'll give you one or two moments, but come on, man. Come on, man. I see it coming from... I kind of entertain the idea. Whilst Unai Emery had Nicolas Pepe, I did like Nicolas Pepe for a minute under Unai Emery. Maybe it was just the way he had Nicolas Pepe playing. You know, it's always about styles and always about how a manager can tweak a player and make them, you know, as effective as they can be. And I think Nicolas Pepe was good under Unai Emery, but after that, he just kind of fell off and he vanished and couldn't adapt to what Mikel Arteta wanted. And it just got to a point where I realized that Nicolas Pepe just wasn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't good enough. He wasn't going to be good enough, and he wasn't ever going to go on to a team that was going to be a team that was ever better than Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, and 72 million down the drain, plus the 10 million that was shared with his third-party company. That's 82 million pounds that was spent by Raul Sanelli, blood. He proper frauded us, man. That was such a scam move, man. I'm so glad. Big up Tim Lewis, man. He come in, grabbed Raul by the neck and said, "You fraud. Get the hell out the door, blood." I love to see it. Xavi Simons wants to return to Barcelona. They're interested in re-signing him. Now, I don't know why, but I saw this and I want to share it. Broja at Chelsea. I don't know why, bro, but the moment I saw this, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, the moment I saw this, I said Arsenal were going to be in the conversation. Now, he doesn't say Arsenal in the conversation before anyone goes mad. Yeah, because Broja, I remember everyone was linking Arsenal with Broja before. Oh, Broja this, Broja that. And I was like, bro, I watched this guy at Southampton. He scored 5 goals in nearly 30 games. You're talking about bringing him into Arsenal, talking about all this potential. Man got finessed by PR, yeah? Finessed. And then tried to come to me, a guy that really understands talent and knows how to identify talent. You try to manipulate how I feel about this player. The player is dead. He'll always be dead. I'm sorry, bro, yeah. You had potential, you had expectation, but that is all gone in the bin now. And for whatever reason, I feel, when I saw this, I felt that Arsenal were going to be in a conversation. That Arsenal, this could be the backup to Kai Havertz. You know, the media have been telling us that, oh, Arsenal want to look at a younger profile to come in so they don't actually stunt what Kai Havertz is doing. You know, the form of Kai Havertz has changed the plan, basically. When I heard that, I was thinking, nah, I'm not happy with that. I need Gyökeres. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing else. But because of that, the moment I saw this, I was thinking, I've got a feeling these men are going to not even turn to him, but maybe inquire about the player. Talk to the agent, Sesko or Broja. I mean, it's the profile, isn't it? It's the profile. But it does look like he will be leaving, man. They're going to part ways this summer. Permanent transfer expected as soon as he returns from Fulham. Like, even Fulham don't even want to make that deal permanent. The Albanian #1 strikers on a list of several clubs in Europe and the Premier League looking at him as main option. And when you see the Premier League there, I'm just hoping Arsenal's name isn't on that list, bro. Just don't look at this guy. He is not worth it, bruv. He is not worth it. What else have we got before we move on to Arsenal? I think that's about it. Exclusive reveal: the dressing room collapse at Manchester United. Underachieving players are no longer listening to Erik ten Hag. Oh, Manchester United are a banter club right now, man. I love talking about Man United. I should have shared this when I was talking about them earlier. I'm not going to go into this now, but there's a report published by the Daily Mail that literally states just that. I quoted it word by word. It's crazy. They're losing. He's lost the dressing room. Then players don't care. Imagine his own players don't even care about him. His own players. He's got Anthony calling him an egghead. Yo, Manchester United. Where's my boys? I got bare Manchester United fans. Big up Blacks. Big up my guy Vic. Who else we got out there? Big up Tinch. Big up. There's a few of you guys, man. There's a few of you guys. You might need to sort it out, bro. Yeah. Crazy. Big up Mafia Boss. It's peak for these guys. I'm telling you, it's peak. Anyway, let's move on to some Arsenal news, man. Let's stop talking about these Red Devil frauds, blood. It's getting a bit peak for them. It's going to get a lot darker for them, man. I hope their man are prepared. We had a bit of breaking news just before I went live. I made sure I retweeted this. Newcastle have made an approach for Arsenal starlet Mario Cozier-Drewbury, according to Fabrizio Romano. However, the Gunners remain in talks with the star winger and look to tie him down to a new deal. No decision has been made as of yet. This is a good young player, man. Newcastle in the race. They want to try and steal this one. Everyone's looking at the Arsenal Academy. Mikel Arteta really needs to get these guys in the first team and show the world that these guys are not for sale, bro. How you show the world they're not for sale is have them in that first team. Give them minutes, 5 minutes, anything, you know what I mean? Give them something. You know, if we had Carabao Cup, FA Cup, I would expect them to be the first name on the sheet. Do you know what I mean? But Arsenal are in talks to sign him up to a new deal. Let's see what happens. I don't think he will obviously leave. He's come through the academy. As far as I've read, he's been here since he was about 7 or 8. So he's been here for quite some time. And I don't think he'll be disloyal and leave, especially when you've just seen Ethan Nwaneri sign a new contract as well. I mean, that will probably encourage you and inspire you to sign a new deal. Let's see what happens, though. Moving on, Mikel Arteta loves Barcelona midfielder Frenkie de Jong. Where's it gone? It's here. Frenkie de Jong and is on Arsenal's radar ahead of a possible move this summer, according to Team News and Ticks. Could a move to North London be on the cards this summer for Frenkie de Jong? This is another player that I would love to see at Arsenal Football Club. Are we gonna make it happen? Is this you know above the Anthony thing is a proper muggish thing, like your own player as well, you know. Big up Red Smoke in the building. I see you, bro. Ski. Come on. It's crazy. It's crazy. Frenkie de Jong fire, but man, he's on 720k a week wages. Now that's a stumbling block. But the reason he's on that is because Barcelona owe him money. That's not the original. That shouldn't be the original. His original wage, original wages, basically. Like, I'm pretty sure before they gave him a new contract, he was on something like 200k or 250k. But they owed him money. They owed him money, so they were. It was like, what do we do? Because what his stance was, what his basic stance was, is that he didn't want to leave Barcelona until they paid him the money. The amount of money they owed him. I can't even get my words out. What's going on? It's probably because I haven't had a coffee this morning. The amount of money they owed him was about 18 to 20 million euros. And he was basically fighting to get that money paid up front. He wanted all of that money. All of that money. That was money owed from 2020 when they done deferred payments for the C19 situation. So they promised to pay all the players or pay some players, whoever agreed to it, that money at a later date. But they never paid him the money and they were holding him hostage. He wanted to leave at some point. They didn't want to let him leave. And it was crazy. And he didn't want to leave until he got paid the money. He didn't want to leave because he didn't believe, as far as I remember reading, he didn't believe that he didn't trust that Barcelona were going to pay him the money if he left the football club. That's basically why he didn't leave. So what they then done, lawyers, agents, what they then decided to do is renew the contract and increase that so they can pay off that 18 to 20 million, but over a course of that contract period. So yeah, you know, if he's actually sitting there waiting for that money, then he's going to have to run down his whole contract for him to earn every single penny from the deferred payments that they actually owe him. So let's see how it happens, man. Let's see what happens. Frenkie de Jong could be leaving, and he's at near the top of the list for Arsenal, according to some of these fraudulent publications. Another player that again we're looking at, this is that central midfield area, is Bruno Gyökeres, and it has been said here that Team News and Ticks confirms that Arsenal will not pay 100 million for Bruno, but a fee closer to 75 million seems more feasible. Bruno also wants to move. Newcastle fans who try to slaughter me for this, your star player wants Arsenal. So yeah, this is obviously him trying to banter. I don't know who this guy is, but we're talking about it. We do know Bruno is heavily linked, and it's a player that Mikel Arteta admires. Edu, you know, obviously fancies him as well. No Diddy thing. And yeah, I have a strong feeling that Arsenal will push for Bruno Gyökeres. And it's because Newcastle have these restraints, these financial restraints, FFP. They need to relax that. And the only way they're going to do that is by selling one of their assets. They need a Champions League football. If they would have got Champions League football, then they probably wouldn't have had to sell anyone. They could have made the project continue. Because the amount of money that it would have generated for them would have been able to help them balance the books. But they can't. So now they have to sell their top asset, and that is Bruno Gyökeres or Isak. It's either one. It's either one. Newcastle fans, just know either one will be leaving. You will not be keeping both of them this summer. You won't. One of them have to leave, or both of them might even leave. You know, you never know. You never know. The pressure could come on. You might have players at the club that you would like, because you got to think, if you sell 4 or 5 players for the combined fee that you could sell a Bruno Gyökeres for, how are you going to replace those 4 or 5 players? Do you know what I mean? So it makes sense for you to sell Bruno Gyökeres, 1 player, for the same amount of money you would have sold 5 or 6 players for, and then slowly but surely build your team back up and then get rid of those dons. You know what I mean? I'd rather sign Isak and sign Polinia from Fulham. You know what? See the Polinia from Fulham? That's an interesting one. I like him, but recently I've kind of gone off of him, and I've seen performances from him recently, whereby he just looks, I don't know, man. He just looks a bit slow. His timing's a bit off. His decisions have been a bit off. I don't know, tackling. He's had so many yellow cards. He's an aggressor. I like that about him, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Declan Rice, the smoothness that we get from Declan Rice, the type of the calm aggression. See that the calm aggression that we get from Declan Rice is what we need, because it doesn't. Like, you can get stuck in, but you don't like misjudge your timing and all of these things based on how you're moving, because you're so smooth. You're smooth calm. I think he loses it. You see, Polinia is a player that loses it and just sees grey clouds and gets himself sent off. He gets himself sent off. You know what I mean? He's just too. Because sometimes, like, I get it. It's about mentality, man. And see, Declan Rice, bro. We've got it. We've got someone that is a smooth aggressor that will make it happen without losing it. Anyway, but big you up. Paulinho extending his contract till 2029, guys. Just look away, Fulham, knowing the fact Rice went for 105 million. They want 120 million for Casado. Fulham literally going to demand record-breaking fees. You're probably not wrong there. Bayern Munich will be a team that it'll go to. I reckon Bayern Munich will rekindle that interest and make it happen. And then you still got Kimmich. I haven't heard much about Kimmich recently. That's interesting. I would still love to, see him come to the football club. Whether Arsenal are going to make that happen remains to be seen or not. But yeah, moving on, Bruno Gyökeres. Another midfielder that we're looking at, and I think Arsenal are going to pull out of the race for this one, is Amadou Onana, ladies and gentlemen. Everton are asking crazy amounts of money for Amadou Onana. They're talking about £70 million. I don't know what they're talking. I don't know what they're smoking. I don't know what they're drinking, eating. I don't know what they're breathing over there. £70 million for this player. The market's gone absolutely crazy, and I blame the Nicolas Pepe deal. I blame that Nicolas Pepe deal, where people saw Nicolas Pepe go for 72 million and said, yeah, the market is going crazy. Now it's time to start putting 30-40% on top of the actual player's value. And now we're looking at 70 million pounds for Amadou Onana. Let's be real, man. Bin this one. We have to bin it. We've got to move on from it. He's not that guy. I like him. I'm not saying he's not good, for those that try and get at me. But let's be honest now. He's a £30 million player. He comes to Arsenal. We've got to wait for him to really develop and be the guy we want him to be. He's got so many raw qualities at the moment. I've been watching him. I liked him. I liked him. I do like him. No DDT. But you know what it is, man. You start watching players more closely. You start watching them when they're under pressure. You see, Everton's under pressure, and they've done okay. But Amadou Onana under that pressure doesn't seem to work well. Makes rash decisions. Yes, not the one. And 70 million, they're smoking something crazy over there, bruv. Red Smoke says, in my head, I've counted 9 possible outgoings in the summer. ESR, Jesus, Kieran Tierney, Cedric, El Neni, Ramsdale, Fabio, Eddie, and Nelson. I mean, there will be a number of outgoings. Let's be real. I think Jesus stays. I think Fabio Vieira stays. Everyone else, there could be a possibility that Nelson stays, but everyone else is probably going to be leaving. ESR gone, Kieran Tierney gone, Cedric definitely gone. I think he's already confirms that he's going to Turkey. Then you've got El Neni definitely gone. Ramsdale. We'll see what happens with Ramsdale. It's going to be interesting to see who comes in for Ramsdale. I want to know where Ramsdale ends up. If Ramsdale, I have to be totally honest. If Aaron Ramsdale decides to stay at Arsenal, he is a PUSSY. He is. That's what he is. That's what he is. He's a PUSSY, and he's a proper coward. You have no ambition to be, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And look, and people might think, well, Wax, why would you say that? Wouldn't you want to have two of the best goalkeepers in the world, or two good goalkeepers, two of the best? No. They're not two of the best. Two good goalkeepers between the sticks, when you're rotating, you know that the quality isn't going to really drop off. And of course, but I'm thinking about Ramsdale. I'm putting myself in Ramsdale's shoes. You're a goalkeeper that wants to be England #1. You've said it multiple times. You come to Arsenal with a different type of energy. You push Leno out the door. Yeah. You told Leno goodbye. Yeah. You come in with next energy, and a part of me feels like it was an ego, but I wanted you to have it because you were moving to a club, and I wanted you to demonstrate your quality. And I hoped that Mikel Arteta would be able to manage it. He hasn't managed it. He hasn't managed it well. But for you as a goalkeeper, Ramsdale, for the treatment, for the way this has gone for you, you would be a coward to actually sit there and say, you know what, I'm staying. You would be a coward, bro. I would literally go and prove myself. I'll go out there and go to a #1 and go to a club and make myself that #1. Make myself that #1. Get in the England team and then look back at it 2-3 years later and say, I told you so. And that's it, bro. That's it. That's it, man. Because I like Ramsdale, man. I like Ramsdale. Is Ramsdale going to go on and be the best goalkeeper in the world? Is Ramsdale going to go on and single-handedly take Arsenal to a Premier League or a Champions League title? No, I don't believe so. He can be a part of a collective that does so, but for Aaron Ramsdale's sake, for the way this has gone for you, bro, I would say leave. I would say leave, because you ain't going to get a look in under this manager. You would have got more than 6 games this season if that would have been the case, Ramsdale. So I'm saying pack your bags, see you later. 50M for Ramsdale. I mean, it's pushing it. I'm saying return. I'm saying break even. I'm saying break even. We're going to get our money back. That's what we're going to do with Aaron Ramsdale. Let's see how it goes anyway. Amadou Onana definitely going to be off the agenda, even though he'll probably still be linked with us, but he'll be off the agenda. All right, I'm really running behind actually. Let's move. Galatasaray reportedly interested in signing Thomas Partey ahead of a summer window transfer. Galatasaray are hoping that they can land Partey for a reasonable fee. And yes, Arsenal do want to get a fee for Thomas Partey. They do not want to let this guy go for free, run his contract down, anything like that. We saw Eddie in Saudi Arabia. I kind of reiterated this about 3 or 4 times already over the past 5 streams, I think. But I believe that he was there to kind of talk to Saudi Arabian teams to get a deal done for Thomas Partey. We want big money. We want to try and get 40 million for Thomas. We want to try and get big money. Galatasaray ain't going to do it. Galatasaray are not going to come to the table and put money on the table for Thomas Partey. That's not going to happen. Well, they will put money on the table, sorry, what am I talking about? But it's not going to be the amount of money that Arsenal want. A Galatasaray or a Turkish team is going to be a last resort for Arsenal. When we're talking business, when we're talking about Edu actually dealing directly with the director of football, they're going to be the last resort at the bottom of the list. Yeah, you're there, and we're happy that you're there because we know as a last resort, we can still sell this guy for some money. But I actually want to talk to these Saudi Arabian clubs because these guys Saudi Arabian are loose with their money. I mean, they will call this money change. I was about to call it change. I wish it was change for me. But they will call it change. 40 million for these football clubs in Saudi Arabia is change. Especially when they're giving Cristiano Ronaldo, 5.5 million a week. You give him out 5 million a week, bro. 20 million a month. Change, 40 million for a Saudi Arabian club is change. And I think Edu is really trying to put pressure on a club, or not putting pressure, but trying to really get a deal done with a Saudi Arabian club so they can maximize the amount of money they earn from Thomas Partey. He's got 1 more year left in his contract. It makes sense to sell him at this point. But let's see what happens. I think, Galatasaray, if they were to come in for Thomas Partey, we're probably talking about £15 million. We're talking about £15 million. That's what we will get from Galatasaray. And even that will probably have to be paid in mad installments. they'll be giving Arsenal like 4 million and then paying the rest in installments. So that's going to definitely be a last resort for Arsenal. But let's see what happens with Thomas Partey. It does look like it's at the top of the agenda to get sold this summer, with Jorginho being the guy that we sign up to a new contract. More players to talk about, man. More players to actually talk about. There's this young player being linked, Desire Do. Not too sure who he is. 18 years old. Arsenal, Man United, Barcelona, and Borussia Dortmund are looking at Rennes, 18-year-old player, Desire Do, or Do, however you pronounce that surname. And that's been published by Graham Bailey. Can't really give you an opinion on this player because I don't really know much about him. But if you guys know, do comment down below, and I will read those comments before I wrap this show. Arsenal have reportedly withdrawn their interest from Juventus goalkeeper Szczesny. We shared this yesterday. I was open to him being a backup replacing Ramsdale, but we have withdrew that interest according to reports coming out this morning. I'm not too sure who's kind of said this. We've got Punk Drunk Arsenal saying that is the case, but I think that I did see it from a few other people as well, but I'm not too sure who the official source is. But yeah, we're pulled out of the race. Let's see what happens with our goalkeeping position, man. You know, David Raya looks like he'll be the number one. Just to let you guys know, on Football Manager, Arsenal do not trigger the option to buy for David Raya. He goes back to Brentford. On my one, he does anyway. Okay, so before we get into Gyökeres, I did want to just touch on Joao Neves. Now, one thing allows us to segue into to Victor Gyökeres, because Joao Neves, as we do know, he plays over in Portugal as well. A very, very good young player. He's about 19 years old, plays as a central midfielder, and we know Arsenal are looking at central midfielders. Now, over this whole season, Arsenal have been in Portugal. Edu has been cooking barbecues in Portugal on a day-to-day basis. This ain't a joke. This isn't made up. According to the reports that are coming out today, and what I read last night, is Arsenal have been in Portugal thoroughly scouting that league all season. So on that basis, you have to say Joao Neves is a player that has 100% stood out to Edu or whoever's been over there looking at these players. And he has now, according to some of these reports, come to the top of the agenda. He is at this one of the players that Arsenal were looking at as the centre midfielders to bring in this summer. Thomas Partey replacement, perhaps, but Joao Neves is a really good player. A lot of people will be familiar with him. He's been linked heavily with Manchester United. He's been linked with teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid as well. I think Man City have looked at him as well. I mean, they're bound to look at it. This is a player that's been cooking. This is a player that is doing tremendously well. He's bound to be on the list of all of these elite clubs. So even if Arsenal wasn't scouting this player, even if this wasn't a report, forget scouting the player. Even if there was no report out there linking us with Joao Neves at this moment in time, based on who we are as a football club and based on what he's been doing over in Portugal, we can make the assumption that Arsenal have been scouting him. But just to let you guys know, this is not an assumption. This is a fact. Arsenal have been scouting Joao Neves, and they have been in Portugal thoroughly scouting Gyökeres. They've been scouting Gyökeres game by game since the beginning of the season, according to what I've been reading. Every single game that Gyökeres has played this season has had an Arsenal representative watch the game. Arsenal representative watched that game. So they are really onto Gyökeres, really onto him. And that's interesting, because you've got to think, if you take ourselves back to when we spent our money in the summer, we couldn't get the David Raya deal done because we had no money to get a deal done, or FFP wasn't allowing us to get that deal done. How do we know the same thing wasn't happening with Gyökeres? Maybe we wanted to sign Gyökeres in the summer. Maybe Gyökeres was in conversation with Arsenal. Maybe Arsenal were dealing with his representatives and with the agency, and Arsenal just wanted to get it done, but unfortunately couldn't get it done because of FFP. And maybe the conversation for Gyökeres could have come later on after the Havertz deal. I'm not saying that is true. I'm just saying that is like a hypothesis of it's not even a hypothesis. Can I even use that word to describe this? No, I don't think I can. It's not science. But that's just my opinion on the situation, or a potential possibility that could have happened between Arsenal and the agency. And, you know, Arsenal have therefore since been keeping tabs on the player, sending scouts to watch the player. And what he has done, knowing that those scouts are watching, has turned up. And I think Gyökeres as well knew that he wanted to move to a team like Arsenal, or wanted to kind of move to, you know, a big team in England, like maybe a Chelsea. It could be a Man United, you know. Sad. It could be Man City. It could have been any one of those teams. You don't know. But because none of those teams came in, he had to then decide to go to Sporting, but with the option of maybe returning to a big club in the following year or two. So that's interesting. But yeah, Joao Neves, anyway, being linked with a move to Arsenal. Amadou Onana, Everton, Joao Neves, Benfica, also on the list of potential midfield targets for Arsenal. Bruno Guimaraes obviously being the #1 priority. So yeah, Joao Neves to Arsenal. They've obviously been discussing him, talking about him. Is it a player that you guys in the chat would love to see here at the carpet? Do comment down below, let me know. Now, the last topic is, of course, Victor Gyökeres, and this is the player that everybody wants at Arsenal. I think most people do. I say everybody. I'll say about 75 to 80% of people want him at Arsenal Football Club. And I am in that percentage, because this is one of the most complete strikers on the planet right now. You can't tell me, no one in the chat right now can tell me a striker on the planet that is more complete than Gyökeres. Gyökeres links up. Gyökeres drops deep, links up. Bro, this guy just does everything. I don't even want to give you a list of the things that this guy does. You know, like I said in the WhatsApp group yesterday, the stat that stood out to me, the stat, forget the GA. The GA speaks for itself with Victor, yeah? The stat that stood out to me was the fact that this guy won the ball back more than any player in that league. This striker won the ball back more than any player in that league. It shows me his work ethic is mad and his pressing game is mad. Yeah, no Diddy. It's mad. Yeah. So this is like, when you look at Gyökeres, the way he he runs the channels, he can drift out to the left wing, right wing. He's very, very versatile in his play. As I said, he drops deep, links up play, can do all of that. Great tech, great ability on the ball, a great movement off the ball. He can get up, win headers. He tries to get on the end of everything. He sets goals up. Like, this guy is just a phenomenal player. And you can't find me a complete striker that is as complete as Gyökeres. Can't find me one. Can't find me one right now on this planet that's as complete as this guy. And when I say as complete, I mean he can play every single role in your attack. Every single role. There was oh man, I'm telling you guys, I don't think you know how obsessed I am with this Victor Gyökeres right now. No Diddy thing. This guy is a proper baller. Yeah. This guy is a proper baller. And this is the guy that completes the jigsaw for Arsenal. Completes the jigsaw. I'm telling you, man, you talk about that starting 11. That starting 11 is complete the moment we sign Victor Gyökeres. Of course, we might need to look at the number 6 or that number 8, whichever Mikel Arteta decides. But this guy gives us so much. And with how he plays and with how Odegaard plays, the connection, the combinations, the patterns that these guys will be producing, the patterns that Gyökeres will allow the other players to produce. I don't think man understand, bro. All right, Gyökeres. Arteta, if you're watching this, any Arsenal representatives are watching this. We've got 200 people in here. One of you guys must be an Arsenal representative. If you're not, share this on Arsenal's Twitter platform right now and say, get in here, because we need you to hear us, okay? We need you to hear us. There is no striker on this planet right now, Arsenal, that is better than Victor Gyökeres. No striker. I don't care what anyone's got to say. You can say I'm delusion. You can say whatever you want in the chat. I don't care what you got to say. I've done my due diligence. I can't even get a word out. And I've done enough research to actually look at this across the board at all various different strikers. And don't get me wrong. you know, Isak, Ollie Watkins. There are players out here that are excellent, that are fantastic, that will bag at Arsenal. But when we're talking about overall qualities, when we're talking about every aspect of their game, yeah, when we're looking at every single attribute in their locker, and we put it all on the table, there is no striker on the planet right now that can give you what Victor Gyökeres is giving you, blood. No diddy ting. This is a madness, this player right here. Any club on the planet is going to be just over the moon with this guy. And I swear, Arsenal, man, if you're hearing me, you need to get this one done. I don't care about anyone else. This is the player you need to get done. He's tailored, super tailored to Arteta football, super tailored to the way we play football at Arsenal. This is a no-brainer, man. This is and this is the reason why I feel like, you know, Edu and these men have been thoroughly scouting this player from day dot. According to the reports, from day dot, they've been at every single sporting game this season. Of course, we've got Diamande that we've been looking at over there as well. Can't write him off, physically out of this world. But I think the main reason why they've been over in Portugal watching sporting games is because of this player right here. This is the guy that Arteta knows he wants. He wants this guy. It says here, Arsenal reportedly sent scouts to nearly all of Sporting's games this season and are very impressed with what Victor Gyökeres has shown. Arsenal are named as the main contenders for signing the striker. It is almost certain that Victor Gyökeres will end up leaving Sporting Lisbon this summer, whether that's to move to Arsenal or another club. And that's according to a journo. Can't even touch it. Can't even click on a tag. That's a tag. But it's via Sports Witness. And I mean, it's interesting news that's coming out about Victor Gyökeres at this moment in time. And I feel like this is the player that Arsenal want to get. We're going to go all out to go and get him done. This will be the marquee striker, the marquee player. And then there will be a centre midfielder that follows in his footsteps as well. Who is that centre midfielder going to be? We don't know. But Victor Gyökeres, man, has to be the #1 player, man. #1 player. Big up Darren, big up Kuvi, big up A9, big up Roland, big up Peppermint, big up Vikes or Vix. Big up Tristan. Good to see you back, Tristan, man. Tristan Jones, I see ya. Big up Mish, Alex, Melbourne, Lou Shane. I see all of you guys. Make sure we are hitting the like button. It's been a really good stream. I have to wrap this up right now, though. Yeah, man. So this one is for me. I think everyone's going to be keeping a close eye on it, and Arsenal will be pushing hard. No diddy thing for this one. You've seen Doofbik v Barcelona, 1 goal, 1 assist, La Liga top scorer. Doofbik, we were looking at Doofbik a little while ago as well. Another good, classy striker as well, man. There's so many strikers out there, bro. There's so many strikers out there that are qualified. But you know, when I've looked across the spectrum and looked at every single one available, every single 23-year-old, 22-year-old, Victor Gyökeres is the answer, man. And he's 25. He's 25. He's at an age now where he's just gonna peak and just go ham. Literally go ham. He's gonna do a Jamie Vardy. See Jamie Vardy coming to the Premier League. Forget what Leicester done. Just go and look at what Jamie Vardy done. Yeah. Jamie Vardy, the individual accolades that Jamie Vardy achieved in the Premier League in terms of GA was out of this world. The guy was doing more than 20, 25 GA every single season for a Leicester team that wasn't always competing or never competing. He had 1 or 2 decent seasons or 3 decent seasons out of the 7 or the 8 that they were in the Premier League for. But go and look at Jamie Vardy's record in that space of time. Gyökeres will outdo though. He will outdo Jamie Vardy. He's already proven that, but based on the numbers that he's produced in the championship. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it. Thank you ever so much. Make sure we are hitting the like button. Big up all the real ones in the building. We much appreciate you. Do go and check out the other content if you are newly watching. There's so much other content on the channel. Do subscribe to the channel. All of that. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Peace out. Peace.